What makes the good life the good life? This podcast is on a mission to find out. So join us as we explore the Heartland's best and most honest voices. Venture to all four corners of York County, because when it comes to quality of life, it's all about keeping it local. Brought to you by the York County Development Corporation. This is 17 County.
Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like, subscribe, and review our podcast, 17 County Podcast. Doing so helps grow our podcast, and we appreciate the help from our listeners and growing our podcast. We'd like to take the time to thank our members. Without these great members, we wouldn't be able to do what we do down here at YCDC. So members such as AgriProducts, York General, Henderson State Bank, Community Title Company, York Cold Storage, Midwest Bank, a few of our great members that help us do what we do down here at YCDC. So members can be found on our directory page. So that's yorkdevco.com. That's yorkdevco.com. So we'll get into our interview. Today I'm joined by a Southeast Nebraska native who found their way to York County. This person is currently in their first administration role with McCool Junction Public Schools. He comes from a family of educators, and so we're certainly lucky to have someone with their passion. So I welcome Cody Wallinger to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate being here. Excited.
Got the name right?
You did, yeah.
Perfect.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm sure you've gotten some interesting pronunciations over the years. Wallinger, yeah.
Probably more accurate to say Jur, but it's always been Gur, and so, yeah, whatever you say, I'll respond.
Cool. So this first little fun segment's called This or That. We're going to run through a list of kind of things, kind of opposites, and you can kind of make it choose on choice on one of these.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, I think, the most. So
first one is Duke UNC with March Madness going on.
Yeah, I'm a UNC guy.
Guy. So you've been pretty excited
for a while.
Yeah.
So with Coach K going out, this
is gonna be an exciting.
I don't know how to feel, but yeah, that's awesome. First time ever, I think, in attorney history they made up in the Final Four.
So that's gonna be awesome. Grilled chicken or fried chicken?
Fried chicken.
Pretty
much anything fried, I think, would take the cake for me.
Is the choice. So big State Fair, fried whatever, fried Oreo. Give me that.
Yes, absolutely.
Sunrise or sunset?
I'm a morning guy, so we'll go sunrise. Yep.
Okay, morning, toast or eggs?
Eggs.
We'll
go eggs.
A
lot of ways to.
Cardio or weights?
Weights.
Yeah.
I got a wife that runs, and that's not me. So
there's the balance.
There's a balance.
You take care of the cardio for the family.
She runs, and I'd prefer the lifting, I suppose.
Podcast or music?
Music.
Okay.
I'm a singer. I like to jam out in the car. So
is there a certain genre or like a segment, a time period that you enjoy?
I don't know. I feel like I can pretty much listen to anything. I like country because I know a lot of country, so that allows me to sing. But I don't know. I think whatever's playing, I'll find a way to.
Fan of everything. That's good. Okay, so music, radio, or Spotify then?
Radio.
Whatever's whatever station you can find.
Do people even answer radio anymore? Yeah, I got my go-tos, so they're preset.
You fall into a demographic, I would say, that probably wouldn't pick radio very often.
This age range anyway, but.
Cake or pie?
That is a tough one. Because I'm pretty much anything with sugar. I think probably pie.
And is there a type of pie?
Lemon.
Lemon pie.
Yeah,
okay.
That was my dad's favorite. He passed that down to me. So, lemon guy.
Is that something that was in the household, I guess, for birthdays and stuff like that?
Yeah, he was always insistent on the fact that dessert went with every meal. So for good or bad, I kind of inherited that. So
I think that's a good rule to live by.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, yeah.
Life's too short to not have dessert,
there you go.
Right?
Yep.
Muscle car or supercar?
See, I am so ignorant on the car front that I'm not even sure I could tell you what the difference.
Where to define what is
a supercar?
I guess that would be like a Ferrari.
Like back to you?
Yeah, something that's something of European. Yeah,
I'm probably gonna go that. We'll go that route.
Yeah,
probably like
a little flashier
looks.
Yeah.
Much
it's more aerodynamic. Yeah,
a little bit more about the looks. Look good, feel good, play good.
Exactly.
Yeah, Sanders there.
Junction Burger or Junction Philly? being down here at McCool Junction?
Oh man, I'm a burger guy.
Okay.
Yeah, the burger probably. But you can't go wrong with either one.
No, either one. Yeah, definitely. So I take it you're kind of a sports person.
I enjoy that.
So Stephen A. Smith or Skip Bayless?
Yeah. Oh man, pick your poison. Probably Stephen A. Smith. I value and appreciate his vocabulary.
Okay,
Skip is he's just too much for me sometimes. But honestly, I don't know. I don't think I've listened to either one of those guys for quite a while.
The way their brains,
reason.
yeah, the way their brains think, and they can make up these incredible takes that just get everyone on every side fired up.
Yeah, I'm a big Tebow guy, and forever that was Skip's guy. So I gravitated towards Skip. If you would ask this 10 years ago, I was probably Skip guy, but now it's I don't know, too much. I think
it's become too much of his character.
Yeah, I guess.
Accuracy or speed?
I value accuracy a lot more, but I find myself in the speed boat maybe more than I'd like. I think there's pros to each one, though I'm gonna classify accuracy as a little bit higher for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you find yourself at the kitchen sink, getting ready to wash your hands. You go for the dish soap, or do you have hand soap there?
We got the pump hand soap. Yeah.
Right, and then Chinese food or Indian food?
Chinese. Yeah, that's solid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So we'll jump into our interview.
Let's do it.
Tell me a little bit about growing up in southeast Nebraska. What was that like?
I think it's a lot like most places in Nebraska, to be honest. It was small.
Mm-hmm.
Beatrice wasn't super big, and then we moved down to Odell, and I was in 7th grade. Very similar to McCool right now, class sizes and community-wise, strong, good people, solid the earth people. You did everything that I feel like was a staple of small town USA. I think it's what kind of keeps communities alive, keeps schools alive, when you have that kind of that aversion to specializing, that notion that it was almost, if you didn't do something, you were strange or different. Like, why would you not do band?
Why are you not out for something?
Yeah, like, why would you not, I don't know, be in the play?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you not be on the football team? And then you run out 70 guys, in an 8-man football program, and you're sitting there going, this is wild. Like, that was kind of the idea. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things I took from my childhood and growing up in small town USA, southeast Nebraska, was just get involved and have fun. And when one thing's over, let's look forward to the next thing. If football's done, then it's basketball. And if basketball's done, then it's track. And when track's done, it's baseball. And it's over and over. And it's probably a good start there.
For these people that, want to do the same sport year round or whatever, you're never out of season if you're constantly moving into the next season. Baseball, football, basketball, track, wrestling, you name it.
Well, and
volleyball, girls too.
Yes. And I think that the notion of a small town where you also don't have the luxury of 1,000 kids to choose from. I think that sometimes you can't specialize, coming from Lincoln and like that pious atmosphere where, I understand in a sense, if you want to be the best of the best, you've got to devote, time. And the sad part though is it forces kids to pick and
make choices. Mm-hmm.
And I think they just miss out on so much by kind of narrowing their vision a little bit.
So were you in the play? Were you in one act?
Yeah,
what kind of things?
I was to some extent. High school plays weren't, at least when I was in school, and it wasn't anything like to write home about, but we did it.
Mm-hmm.
I was not, probably shouldn't, but going on the record, I was not the best student. And looking back now, I always say God has a terrific sense of humor that he throws me in education, but it was a thing when we were in school to not necessarily know all your lines and to bring improv in sometimes when the lights go up. And so I had a buddy, him and I, we ended up winning best actors. There was a lot of improv that night that we made
the night you won.
So it was just fun. And there's an adrenaline rush, I think, that goes with that. And then, just it's crazy after college and living back around that Beatrice area. Me and the same buddy, we ended up getting into community players in Beatrice, and I did two plays there, Beauty and the Beast, and then Thoroughly Modern Millie. So that was just fun. I enjoyed that. I those are good people. Those theater people, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And so growing up in Diller, I guess graduating from Diller Odell, did you kind of always know, your next step of going, off to college, or
that's a good question.
Was there any other, possibilities? Like, was like the military an option, or I guess where did you lie, and as an 18-year-old?
Oh man, I was lost. Like, I don't know. Even looking back, I couldn't even tell you if there was an option outside of college. I knew military is a thing. My dad was in the Army, and but if I'm being honest, that probably scared me at the time. Like, why would I? I knew I liked sports, and I knew I wanted to try to find something at the next level, but not super serious at the time either. And I remember, Peru State came along and said, we'd like you to play ball here, and here's a scholarship. And I always tell everybody that, that is what it is. It's not like you're running out there at the University of Nebraska or anything, but it allowed me to do what I love for 4 more years, and they paid for my school in the meantime. But as far as, what am I going to do when this time's up? Geez, 175 credit hours later, I left 5.5 years, and I didn't know. And I didn't know until, for certain, until after my senior year of football. I had finished my last game that fall as a business major, thinking I want to go into like sports management and work for a professional NFL team, and kind of just avoiding reality. I didn't know what that looked like. That was unfamiliar to me because, again, both my parents are teachers, so that was what I gravitated towards. That was the safe road. And then I think once rubber started to meet the road there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about 5 months from graduating. I don't even know if this, like, what to do with, and found myself jumping back into education, and I'm glad I did. I remember making that phone call to my dad. It was a December morning, and I pick up the phone and I said, hey, Dad, I think I got another 1.5 years still. And I softened the blow. I said, I want to be like you, and I think he appreciated
hearing that.
But it was true. He was a teacher, he was a coach, and I just finally realized, like, that is what I want to do. And so I finally figured it out. College allowed me to do that, but yeah, I did not know at 18 years old for sure.
And so finished up and graduated. You were in Beatrice for a little bit, teaching high school.
Yeah. I because I extended that my college tour, I could finish up online, and so I moved back home, and I was living in Odell with my dad there for a while. But I was like, well, I gotta use what I have. I was able to sub, and I had my coaching endorsement already. So kind of picked that up at Beatrice and was coaching there. And
so you're like volunteer coaching and subbing?
Well,
and stuff or I guess assistant coaching. Yeah. They're kind of paying you.
Yeah. And doing that and enjoying it, and for, helped out with football and for 2 years. And then I had basketball for a little bit and girls soccer, 1 year as the head. And it was awesome. Had everything lined up. They had a contract for me to jump in and be a teacher and a coach, and ended up going another route there. But yeah, that was what I thought was going to happen.
So your original influence into, came from your parents, I guess. What about, seeing your parent, I guess, what about seeing your parents being teachers kind of made you kind of, gravitate towards that?
Oh man, there's so much there. I think it's one of the most rewarding professions there are. Like the easy cliche like joke is the pay. You know what I mean? Like, right. And everybody makes it, and that's fair. And I feel like a lot of times educators are real quick to say, find something else to do, don't get stuck here. But I don't know. I don't believe that they believe that, it's not for everybody. There's a lot of truth to that, but just seeing mom and dad, go to work every day, and come home exhausted and tired to some extent, but there was fulfillment. And as I got older and I'm able to appreciate things a lot more, seeing interactions between their former students and them just blew me away. I think a lot of us have that, I don't know what you want to call it, that superhero complex or whatever it is, where you want to make a difference. Like you want to do something memorable and be remembered and make something of your time here. And education does that. And I was seeing that, and that inspired me, that coupled with, I knew I wanted to coach and be involved in sports, and it just felt like, why not do this?
And so you found yourself teaching for a little bit there, it seems like, and then life took you a different way, it seems like, or talk to me a little bit about that next step along your journey.
Okay, so like I said, I was at Beatrice, and I was doing everything I loved, and I was coaching, and I had a contract lined up to teach, and made probably would be the hardest decision I think I had made in my life up to that point, to leave that all behind. There's a lot of factors that go into why I was feeling the way that I was and believing the things that I was at the time, but felt a really strong calling to go to the seminary. So developed a really good relationship with the Catholic priest in Beatrice, Father Major, and we talked all the time, and I just found myself gravitating to what he was saying and just genuinely enjoying it, falling in love with Scripture and everything that entailed. And he just looked at me and he said, maybe you need to explore that, and at the time I'm this 21-year-old kid. I got the faux hawk going on. I got earrings in both ears, and I got this beard going, and he's just like, you're gonna have to get rid of that stuff. But I was really ignorant in my faith, and I just felt like, and maybe it was the history buff in me, that's my major, and that was part of the reason I was gravitating towards something so old and beautiful. And whatever it was, I said, you know what, maybe you're right. And I walked into Neil Randall's office there at Beatrice. I turned in my keys to the school, and I said, I'm going to have to not take this contract, this offer. And I went to Seward, to the seminary, and that's where I spent about the next 3 years. Got my degree in philosophy, and then went to Emmitsburg, Maryland, and studied theology for a semester. It was awesome. And I don't know, you kind of start to sit back and reminisce as you get older about who was writing your story, and like, never in a million years would I have thought that'd be the next chapter. But it's so worth it. And everything that's happened to date is because of what happened, at that time. I believe that. And so, 3 years in, I was at peace with the idea that no, God was not calling me to be a priest. He was calling me to be a husband. And I loved it. I was so thankful, for many reasons. But I felt peace with the idea that I knew that now, like I knew it. I didn't guess at it. I knew it. Mm-hmm. And so, I jumped out of that, got back into education as fast as I could, and started teaching in Lincoln.
So tell me a little bit about, those 3 years, at seminary. I've had friends go to seminary school, I guess, but I don't really know. Like, do you go class 8 to, how does that kind of work?
It's like what's a college. If you enter without your college degree, which 3/4 of the guys do, then you go through, you get your credits, and you go to class 8 to whenever. If you go in with your college degree like I did, then you just study philosophy. So it's a 2-year program, and but again, it's class. They have times and whatnot. It's accredited school, and there's a lot of praying. There's a lot of devotion time and chapel time, and
it's on campus living then, or how does that through federal scholarships and stuff like that?
There's no scholarships, but in our what we call Diocese of Lincoln, they paid for it at the time.
There was funds available.
Yeah. So, through donations, like from parishioners, which makes this diocese that we live in very unique. And because throughout the rest of the world, the person pays for it. You know, you foot the bill for that, but they never wanted that to be a deterrent for somebody to give up life.
Right, a financial,
Right.
Get rid of that barrier.
But I mean, day-to-day life, it was, and you know, you ask this question now, like I had no idea either. I mean, I went in like, what in the world? You know, am I in Hogwarts? That pulled up to this huge building, and you know, bells chiming, and you know, is this just going to be like lame? Like, I mean, you know, normal guy, like, what am I doing?
What's going on here? Yeah,
is it going to be boring? And it's not. It's just life. You know, you go in, you study a lot of things.
A lot of conversation. Like, I imagine there's a lot of like, I don't want to call it debate, but I guess like conversation about, you know, scripture and things like that.
Yeah, I know you study a lot of people that were for the faith and a lot of people that were against it, you know, because we'd say ignorance of scripture is ignorance of Christ. And so you want to be able to defend and, you know, but you just immerse yourself with the church and philosophical arguments and discussions but I don't know, in the same breath, like, you got to be real too if you're going to be a priest. Like, you got to be able to connect to everybody. So we did everything that everybody else does. We played sports and watched movies and hung out with friends, and you know, we're real.
It's regular life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You just, you know, you wear the cassock and the clerics and you can't date. So that's pretty.
So what was, I guess, your kind of aha, like, light bulb? You mentioned, you know, being a husband, a father, you know, things like that. You know, how did you know, when did you arrive at that? How did that kind of come about?
You know, there's not too many people that enter the seminary that do so with that aren't attracted to the married life. That's would be abnormal. And so that was always there for me. You know, like I always wanted to, you know, a wife and kids, and but I mean, when you go through it for so long, and hopefully, you know, you pray about it and you give it its due diligence, at some point, I don't know if it clicks or whatnot, but you make a decision, you feel good about the decision, and you say, you know what, like, there's still that barrier, or, you know, there's not as much peace as I would like there to be after this amount of time, and believe and trust that that's probably, you know, somebody letting you know that, and you make a decision and you don't look back, and that's kind of what happened. You know, there wasn't that peace that I would have wanted, and so made the choice and came back to Nebraska and jumped into education.
And so after Seward, you found yourself teaching in Lincoln?
Or yeah. No? So I went to Emmitsburg for a semester, came back, and you're right, jumped into to teaching back in Lincoln at St. Joe's for the last 6 years.
I guess to kind of rewind a little bit, you mentioned football in Peru State. You know, talk about your passion for football. I guess how did, you know, share a little bit about, you know, that how, you know, came to be. Because, I mean, if you want to play 4 years of football, you got to kind of really like it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, that's my sport. I just, it doesn't mean I'm good or great at it. I always appreciate that and liked it. It wasn't always easy. I remember there was a time where, one in particular, where I called up my parents and I said, I just want to be done. You know, for whatever reason, the stress or just internal squabbles within a program, or, you know what I mean? Like, that stuff happens everywhere. And my dad saying, like, no, you don't, you know, and me trusting that he had my best intentions. I didn't want to quit anything. I knew that. And I'm very thankful to stick that out, to have that kind of be a part of who I am now. It's not easy, but I think it's worth it. And I'll tell you right now, you know, the reality that you can no longer put those pads on and strap that helmet up, I'm glad I got everything out of it I could. You know, people will tell you that your whole life, you're going to miss it when it's gone, you're going to miss it when it's gone, and we don't appreciate that until it's gone, unfortunately. And so it was awesome. You know, I felt like we did a good job at that time to help turn the program around a little bit. They were not great before we got there. You know, they had, I think, a year or a couple of years of either one win or none, you know, and they But when we left, we were a consistent 500 program, and that's a big step, you know. So we felt good about that. We felt proud about it, and so it was fun. It was awesome. Yeah, loved everything about it.
So you say we, I mean, was there a coach that you look back to, or was there, a group of players that, really just, shifted the mindset of like, what it means to come to work and, be a Peru State football player?
Yeah, I just think the class I entered with and some of those guys, a year younger, a couple years younger, for whatever reason, we just embraced that notion that we probably were never going to win any of the championships, but we were here to adjust. We're here to get back on track, and it's hard work changing a culture. You have to lay a foundation. I think that's just what we did. Like, none of us went on to play in the NFL or anything like that. Like, we're all just regular guys now, who probably all just wanted to play what we love for 4 more years. But I don't know, ball bounced right when we were there a few times and caught some breaks, and it's a we thing, though, for sure. It always will be, nobody's ever bigger than the program. And we look back, and whether you played the whole game or you just helped out with practice squad, it was us. That was kind of what we embraced and what we loved about it. And Peru, much like Southeast Nebraska communities, McCool community, it's small. It's family. It's us, That's what all those NAI programs give you. And so, yeah, it was us. And looking back, I think we're all proud of what we did, which is nice.
The camaraderie of a football team is, certainly something that's like, unparalleled, because, once you get in the locker room, you get so many people from so many different walks of life, backgrounds, and so many just different, personalities and people, but yet, all those people have to get along. Because you have that common mission and things like that. And so it's crazy to have that many people with so many different backgrounds, but yet can come together and work for a common mission. So it just, to me, it gives me hope, for us in the grander scales of life.
Sure.
If we could be a little bit more like football and work together towards that common goal.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a trying to think, that analogy of, a body and all the different limbs that go into making it whole. So, you got your toes, which don't get a lot of recognition, but if you were absent of those, you wouldn't be whole. You know what I mean? And they serve a purpose. And that's what I think most team sports are. You're there for a reason, and so you have to embrace it. You have to embrace your job. You do it.
And so you had a little bit of opportunity when you got back to back in Lincoln to do a little bit more, teaching coaching a sport.
That was that's kind of a crazy time when you leave the seminary after 3 years and you jump back into the real world, and there is a safety net that's been removed when you leave a place that is promising you protection and security, and now you jump back in, and it was intimidating, like trying to get back into the educational field, and thank God, I was able to get a job at a Catholic school. Like, I felt like it was a smooth transition. I was a history guy already. I had my degree. So when a social studies job opens up at St. Joe's in Lincoln, I couldn't have scripted that any better.
St. Joe is 6 through 8?
St. Joseph's it's a K through 8.
K through 8.
So there's one Catholic high school in Lincoln, Pius, and you have a number of these elementary schools.
Okay.
Kick their kids into there, and so that was one of them. And it was awesome. I trying to think, maybe half a mile from Pius, and instantly, one of my first calls after that was trying to find a way to coach over there, football and basketball and girls soccer again. And so, I was very content with that life.
And so this was your first full-time job.
Yep.
And you're about what, 27 at this time?
Probably 24, 25. Somewhere around there, 24, 25-ish.
And so what did you enjoy, I guess, about, being at St. Joe, getting to coach, and you got to coach at Pius?
Yeah.
What did you
I just enjoyed, regardless of what the name of the school was, and public or parochial, didn't matter. Like teaching is teaching, and teaching was fun. And it, that full circle idea of coming back to what, you saw with mom and dad when they were there and the impact. And that's the type of stuff that, where I was getting the pail continuously kind of filled up for me was just the relationships that you establish. But yeah, having that ability to, 3:30 hits and you get in the car and you drive over and now you get to go, play football or bat, and have that added bonus and kind of hanging out and communicating and whatnot with now your older kids, your high school kids. And that was enjoyable.
And so Lincoln, you spent 6 years there in Lincoln, and then you got an offer to go to York you got an offer to come here to McCool.
Yeah.
And then, talk to me a little bit about, your relations, maybe in this area or how you, got in connection with this area.
Over the course of that 6 years, a lot happened. There was, reached a point where, for whatever reason, I was being drawn to an administrative role. And I'm sitting here going, why? Never in a million years would I have wanted to be a principal or one day a superintendent, but I just found maybe I would. And so I, started that program through Wayne. And it just felt like it was falling into place as it happened. A semester after starting that, get offered the athletic director job at St. Joe's. And so I'm, that kind of falls under that umbrella. And so here you have me studying to be an administrator and performing some administrative duties, as an AD, and then doing a year of that. And then the next year, the Catholic Youth Sports League director position opened up, and the guy that was doing that, him reaching out and saying, "Hey, Cody, I've seen you, you've been AD for a year and I've loved what you're doing and you're doing great. I think you should apply for this." And so I said, okay, again, never would have thought I'd do that or really wanted to, but trusted that there was a reason it was being presented. And so I said, okay, I'll give that a shot. And so, now you have me finishing up my administrative endorsement while being a league director for, 12, 13 schools in that area, wearing a million hats at a time. I just felt like those were good opportunities for me to be able to learn and multitask and just get my feet wet, and things outside of the classroom. And so with all that going on, finally finishing my master's and saying, now I want to put it to use. So when you start the job search, I guess, because we're not from here and we don't have family around here. And so it was a jump on teachingnebraska.com thing and who's looking. Next thing you know, giving you a call saying, "I'd like to bring you in." And it's kind of how that went about.
And so you worked your way up through the ranks, it sounds like.
That's a good way to put it, probably.
Doing, different kind of things like that. And so what was kind of your appeal about, did you want to, I don't want to say get away from a larger school district, but did you want to get back to something that you were maybe more familiar with?
I did. Absolutely. I mean, it's no knock against Lincoln, or big places in general. Mm-hmm. That's such a relative term.
Right. But most of our listeners, Lincoln is big.
Yeah. By that time, my wife and I, we had a son. He's a couple years old. I just couldn't envision a world where I one day sent Rocco off to LPS. I just couldn't. It wasn't anything I was familiar with, and what I did know, I didn't like, for probably a million reasons, and whether good or bad. I wasn't at peace with that thought ever happening. Mm-hmm. And I knew, at some point I want to get him in a place maybe I was familiar with, because I knew all the opportunities that were present. And so we were looking, and I think our vision was kind of scaled to smaller community places, where everybody knows everybody. You just saw the earth people type of thing, small classroom, teacher-student ratio, that type of thing. And so the attraction for us with McCool is it had everything we wanted, like it did. And it's really only, 40 minutes from Lincoln, which is where my wife is from and her family. So that was nice. We're not getting in the car and going 8 hours away. So we see them a lot. But a big belief in this idea that for my children, I want them to be able to experience what I know is good and true in a place like McCool, a small town community.
Certainly, yeah. And I mean, McCool, the more that I've gotten into this job, I grew up in York. I was one of those York, hoodlums that would come down here to McCool and hang out every now and again. And, I just thought this was, your boring small town and there was nothing going on. And the more I've gotten to this role, this is such an awesome community that loves its school and has such a passion for its school. And as a professional, that's something that I've grown to appreciate about this community.
Absolutely. It's the heartbeat. It's our heartbeat. Mm-hmm. And, just to touch on that, I'm okay with being bored, and I'm okay with kids being bored. You know what I mean? Because you're not wrong. Because I remember, I have these vivid memories growing up in Odell, Nebraska, being bored, and looking back now and being like, I'm glad I was bored. There's this beauty with being content with what is in front of you. And my God, if that is not true now, I don't know what is true. This fast paced, always have to be, given something. Slow down. Just slow down. The first week living here, I remember taking our dog for a walk on the road with my 3-year-old kid, thinking here we go. This is it. This is good. And so, well, I don't know. It's just kind of how we think, and so we're good right now.
So you mentioned a little bit about, you enjoy, I don't want to say you enjoy being bored, but, you you enjoy the slower pace of things. But what are some other things you maybe, kind of have, your hobbies, interests that kind of keep you, entertained, down here?
Oh, man, I don't. That's a tough question. That's a harder question than people think. I feel like it's very generic. What are your hobbies? But when you stop and think, just because life, it's busy, and I don't do a good enough job of reserving time for myself. But things I enjoy, as common as it might be, is family. And we get to Lincoln quite a bit to see my wife's. Just that time, watching TV or games, sporting events, or going to movies. Or I loved coaching when that was a reality, and hopefully one day that will be again. I'm a fantasy football guy. That's whether my wife likes that or not about me. That's probably something, if I'm being honest, that does allow me to escape reality more than anything else, and just kind of like brain candy, And so I don't know. When I was younger, I used to collect sports memorabilia like crazy, and I always tell myself I need to get back into that. And I know I will when my kids get older, and I'll just live vicariously through them.
Right. Yes. Your hobby is our hobby now.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And honestly, I think there's a lot of that's true. And that's what will happen, as my kids get older. Just investing myself in them. Whether it's this event or that event, or let's go over your spelling words, or let's play video games, or let's read this book, or let me tell you about these movies that I love, or that's what I'm looking forward to. I think that's a beauty of family, and introducing them to things and having them introduce me to things. I'm looking forward to that. So hopefully, as that happens down the road, I'll have better answers to the question we do. I don't know. I was introduced to Pokemon, and now I don't know.
I'm a avid Pokemon Go fan. Yeah.
But I'm telling you now, I'm going to be their biggest fan. Whatever it is, okay, it's the theater, let's do it.
Yep.
Let's go to everyone we can't, whatever it is.
Go to whatever camp, whatever play.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. That's awesome. Yeah, right on. So we mentioned, the community and everything like that. We just had a, fun event down here in McCool, Evening with the Stars. Touch on a little bit about, that fundraiser and what kind of, what kind of means to the community and how it's kind of, how it kind of brings everyone.
Sure, that's big time. And being my first year, there's probably even a little bit of, I don't know what the right word would be, guilt even attached with trying to take any sort of credit at all, because was so far removed. I was from that, but the people that put it on and that committee, that's a godsend. You look around what we have in the facilities, and it's an event for the community. And my understanding is, the last couple of years, the profits have really kicked back to the school specifically, whether it's for a learning center or maybe to help with the track or the building we're in right now, the new offices. But that's not what it's necessarily reserved for. It's a community thing. And so whatever the proceeds this year will bring in, the idea of like a splash park, for the town, that could be a reality, but there's nothing like that. Like, you're not going to go to any place that I've ever heard of or I'm familiar with where they do something like that and get the turnout like they do year after year, tens of thousands of dollars out of the pockets of the community for the school. And you're sitting there, Lily, my wife, and I, this is the second year we went because we were invited last year after I got the job. And we're looking through, the auction stuff. Like, yeah, well, we could put a little money
something down. Yeah.
And they get to it, and you're sitting here going, whoa, that's so far removed from the actual price of what that. And you just have people just with joy doing it.
Loving
knowing that, like, well, yeah, it's a donation. You know what I mean? And I until you see it, you just won't appreciate it. But I'm telling you right now, McCool is a very special place, if not for that alone. That event and the pride that these people have in their community, and the reality that it will not die, not while I'm here. It will not. So, yeah, it was awesome. It was well done. Very well done.
Yeah, that certainly is a awesome event, and I would, like you said, I would put it across the state, against any other, any other booster club, foundation.
Yeah.
See if you can come and do anything better than this, because I think for a D1, C2, whatever, school, I mean, it's rocking down here, so that's pretty awesome.
Yes.
All right, so we'll jump into our rapid fire questions here to kind of round out our interview. Just some kind of fun little questions to kind of finish everything up. First one up here is a favorite smell. You got a favorite smell? Comes to mind.
I feel like I have like a memory attached to so many smells, and I have a wax melt 2 feet from me where I alter that scent every day,
changing
and. I don't know. You know what? If I had to pick one, fresh cut grass just takes me back to being a kid, and I love it. And every time I smell it, especially when it comes from my yard, I just feel good, like I've done something, and I'm in a good place. And if there's whatever else is burning down around me, the yard is taken care of.
Something's been accomplished.
I like it. I like that smell. Yeah.
A favorite season, favorite time of the year for you?
I'm a fall guy. That's the excitement of school. You got football coming about. You finally escape that 100 and whatever degree summer. You're getting into the cooler. Yeah, I'm a fall guy for sure.
I'm gonna need to get some statistics for my listeners, but fall is
Is it hot?
Just so far ahead of everyone else. I mean,
yeah.
Spring and summer in a close second, and then winter trailing.
You get somebody saying winter, you might have a psychopath.
Because I question anyone that enjoys winter around here.
Yeah.
If you're from Colorado or something, maybe.
A little different. Yeah, that's true.
What's your favorite way to spend a day off? Whether all you're lonesome or with, your family, either or,
Yeah, I feel like I used to be a pretty big introvert, and I'd probably be like, just let me just relax on my own. But having kids and a wife now, like I genuinely, I like to be around them. Whatever it is, it'll be gone one day. So I don't know, I wish I didn't think that way, because I think it would allow me to enjoy my solo time a little bit more, but I just like being with them.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever we do, and I think, if we're around family, that's all the better.
A favorite restaurant here in York County, a place that you...
Carrie's. This is a plug for Carrie's. No, I mean, that's hands down. That is good food there. So,
mm-hmm. But we're gonna have another down here in McCool. That Junction Pizza.
Junction Pizza
is gonna be
just
great
opened. We've been there.
How is it? I haven't been.
Yeah, it's solid.
Good
for sure. Yep, I would.
Is it wood baked or oven, or is it like a gas oven?
See, that's a good question.
Good question
and
for that.
I was a little bit more into the cooking realm, I could tell you those. I do not know. I just know it's good.
It's good.
We got it. I ate it. There were no leftovers. So, yeah, that's solid.
Yeah, I need to get down there for sure. A favorite memory here in York County? I know you've only been here a short year. Sometimes this question for the lifelong Yorkers, is a little bit more stumping. But what's something maybe in the last year that kind of sticks out to you as a favorite memory?
Probably just when we moved here. I feel like that was the closing of a book for us, is with our life story. One chapter was done. My wife has been a Lincolnite her whole life. It's an elementary, high school, UNL. And so this was a big thing for us. When we did that, there's a lot of memories that go into moving beyond just the date that you walk through the house, but everybody that we've come across has just been amazing and welcoming. And so, as I think when I get older and I look back on this chapter of our life, this McCool Junction chapter, however long that may be, remembering that experience for us, that experience that's still happening now. I mean, there's still people that, you shake their hand, you say, it's nice to meet you, because, again, I am only 7-8 months in, but this whole experience of moving here has been pretty special.
Definitely sets a tone and everything like that.
Yeah.
How's your wife adjusting, I guess, to a small town? Yeah. I guess,
She's doing awesome. I think she really enjoys it. So she, trying to think, is how far along? We have a child on the way in early July.
Okay.
So not only did she head out of Lincoln for the first time, permanently, but she spent some of this time being pregnant, and and I've been told that that's not always the most comfortable and pleasant time, but she's loving it.
Good.
Again, I feel like just like this record on repeat, but it's just the people, it's the friends, the people that go out of their way to make us feel loved and welcomed. So, yeah, she is, as far as I know, I'm under the impression that this has been a very enjoyable time for her.
I imagine the number of readily available babysitters is drastically higher in this community than your community.
Maybe you know what? I didn't think of that. She's staying at home now. She's a teacher too, so we're both educators. But when this job became available, we're sitting there going, we're not gonna jam a square peg in a round hole. We have a 3-year-old, and so she got to play mom this year full time, stayed at home, and but so we haven't needed babysitters as much. But yeah, I mean, if we ever did, I wouldn't be hesitant to call up one.
I imagine there's quite a few people that
call up anybody and say, hey, can we drop Rock off for a while? But yeah, no, it's going well.
A dream vacation. Maybe one that you've already been on, or one that you've got planned for the future, or even a fantasy one that, if ever one day.
Good question. Well, see, this breaks my heart, but we're not much of vacation people. We want to be. We never made it on a honeymoon. I can't even tell you. I'm trying to think where I've been in my own life, but if we could, and we were always, COVID kind of threw a wrench in a number of plans for travel and whatnot. But I think if we could, we'd go somewhere warm with water, and whether that's out of the country, I think anytime somebody says the word Jamaica or you perk up, like, watch. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe anywhere together would be just a solid escape, but I'll tell you now, it does have to be warm. Somewhere warm would be ideal.
For sure. That kind of goes back to that winter remark.
There you go. Pay money to be cold.
A favorite candy bar, something that's maybe you've got sneaked away in the drawer or something. Always on a road trip.
This guy,
Reese's Pieces, Reese's.
No. I need a full mouthful
or
when
like
I take a bite.
The holiday special, like
I'm a big holiday egg guy. Like
Easter's coming up, so yeah, those are the good ones. Yeah,
for sure. That's the go-to.
Favorite county or local event? I mean, we talked about Evening with the Stars, so we've already covered that one. But what's maybe something else that you've maybe went to over the last year? Whether maybe one of the other community like celebrations, or
I don't even know if there's been
balloon days or Mustang Round. I don't know if you were here for Mustang Roundup, or if you missed that. Kind of what's.
I don't even know if I have an answer for that. Like, oh man. Especially lately, because I mean, I hate to say it, but you come back to just how much COVID shut down that I'm like, what was the last thing?
Did you get a chance to go to the fair, last year?
We went to Lincoln, I guess. Popped in here.
I don't know if you went to the county fair, the York County Fair, if you got up there last fall.
No, that was not a thing we got to experience, unfortunately. So hopefully this year. I don't know. I might have to take a rain check on that.
Yeah, to be determined. Yeah.
Oh. Shoot you a text when I finally get the answer to that sometime.
But it's Evening with the Stars, without a doubt. One.
For sure.
And then we'll figure out another one.
Everything else kind of falls in line there. No.
For sure. Perfect. Cool. So this last segment here is what's making us happy. Kind of a fun little segment with all the doom and gloom in the world.
Nice.
Just to kind of keep everything kind of positive. For me, I just learned, today is March 29th, I just learned yesterday that the York Public Schools added bowling to the list of activities for York High School, and so that's great for me. I'm an avid bowler. I love bowling. I'm a certified coach.
Wow.
I love the sport of bowling.
We gotta get to here.
Yeah, and I know McCool has a program and great players and great everything like that. And so that's what's making me happy right now.
I love it.
The sport of bowling.
Yes, very good.
And yourself? What about you? What's going on?
What is making me happy? Spring has hit.
Yes.
There's been a change in many people's mindsets and demeanors. What else? Again, I thoroughly enjoy the NFL and football and fantasy football and everything that entails. And as we get closer to the
trade deadline and all that stuff,
the trade deadline and just everything that kind of goes with that. The Denver Broncos brought in a new quarterback, Russell Wilson.
Danger Russ, that's right.
We have hope again. It feels good. Like I'm still on that Cloud 9 experience. The Chiefs have lost some good players, so.
And Tyreek Hill has definitely fallen off the fantasy board, I feel like.
I'm hoping this is a sign of things to come, that maybe we have a chance now. I don't think it's some just embarrassing statistic. I don't think we've beat the Chiefs in like the last 3 years. You know what I mean? Like it's
been a long time.
I hate them so much. I don't know why they're so good, but.
Well, and what is this? Is this your 8th quarterback since Peyton? Every year since Peyton?
Yeah. So hopefully that makes me really happy. We have on a little bit more like objectively good scale. My wife and I are expecting our second child in early July.
That's exciting. Yes, congrats.
Archie is his name, and so we are looking forward to that. And
awesome. Well, thank you for your time today. Over the last hour, just kind of sitting down with me, chatting about you and your experience so far. I also want to thank our members once again. So Cornerstone Bank, Nebraska Public Power District, York State Bank, Green Realty and Auction, Perennial Public Power District, Union Bank and Trust. Once again, all great members that help us accomplish our mission down here at York County Development Corporation. So, final thoughts. I'll let you kind of close up the show with any quote, final words of wisdom. If there's anything you want to plug, any events or anything coming up, I'll let you kind of close out the show with whatever you want to kind of share with the people.
Oh man, I was not prepared for this segment. I appreciate your time. I mean, this was highly enjoyable and very professional. You're good at what you do. So thanks for coming in and adjusting your schedule for me and everything I got going on. I want people that are listening to know how much pride and love we have for our school, for our community in McCool. We give everything we can to these kids. We trust that they're the future. How we form them and mold them is ultimately going to be what the future looks like and what it holds. And so we don't take that responsibility lightly. We love each and every one of them. They come through and they are our kids. And so we take a lot of pride in that. And as we close out everything, it is a great day to be a Mustang. And I thoroughly believe that.
Thank you very much.
This is 17 County, a new podcast brought to you by the York County Development Corporation in Nebraska. For more information about life and opportunity in the Heartland, visit yorkdevco.com. Come grow with us. And if you liked this episode, be sure to rate and review 17 County on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.